Hello. Okay, I just want to check it out. Usually, I never do this, but I'm really bored. I've done all the things I needed to. And it's like a bit gloomy here. It's been raining, floor's wet, sky's cloudy, and I don't know. I just feel like I wanted to vent, sort of, or how do I say this? Um, Try to encourage or motivate people. uh, yeah. So this whole thing is just gonna be like my confessions and realization as a skinny person. Normally, I do not talk about this at all because me personally, I feel like people don't really care, and everyone's just living in their own world, and that's exactly why I wanted to sort of rant about this, because no one cares. Okay, that's what the past version of me needed to know, and I'm hoping that other people who are watching this, who are also in the same situation as I am, who are skinny, have any health concerns, or just don't sort of love themselves, if you know what I mean. And with that intro out of the way, let's just start. So as you can tell, I'm not, well, I'd like to think of myself as not really that much of a skinny person anymore. But before I was like, oh my gosh, skin and bones, guys. I'm not even joking. If I stood up straight, you would literally see not a single ounce of muscle. It would literally just be bones protruding from my body, especially my rib cage. It would just be boom, out there. And I was really self-conscious at that time, and which was very weird, since I never really sort of gave a care, or had a single care in the world, which I was a kid, so that's everyone. But that was, I was entering the normal age for puberty, and seeing all of my classmates, all of my friends growing at that stage, and then I'm just there stuck with that disease, which they didn't know that time, but I was literally skin and bones. I actually put up a picture right here. That's how much I weighed as a 13-year-old. That is unbelievable. But yeah, times went by, eventually they found out my disease and stuff, and I got treatment. I'm now 18. I don't know if I look like an 18-year-old, but people sometimes have misidentified me as being younger, which normally people would take as a compliment, oh, you look so young, oh, thank you. But in my case, I always wanted to look older, sort of, because I just don't know. Yeah, I just wanted to look older, so when people said oh, you look so young, I'd just be oh, thanks, I guess. But with that little rant out of the way, I just wanted to give my personal opinion on, we're gonna change the whole subject here. I want to give my personal opinion on self-love, okay? And you guys have probably heard the topic thrown around out there, self-love is the best love, and you can't love anyone else if you can't love yourself. But I honestly believe that is true, and I have had first-hand experience with that. Um, let's take it back to last year, because that's when like this whole enormous change happened to me. So last year I was still recovering from being underweight, being malnourished, being or like having a disease which I did, which was well, actually I was diagnosed in 2019. Never knew what it was until last year. Yeah, and exactly. And I've just had that disease. I've gained weight during that time from like 2019 to 2024. I have gained weight, but since that disease was still present, I've just lost it, gained, lost. It's just like an ongoing cycle. And the disease, by the way, if I haven't mentioned it, is Crohn's disease. So one of the main things is you can't really gain weight, or it's like really, really, really hard to gain weight. And that's basically what I had. So last year was probably one of the worst years of my life, is what I thought. You know, looking at it like now, that was probably like the best year of my life, because that's when I actually got to discover sort of myself and appreciate, you know, not just myself, but the people around me, you know, the world, God, if you're religious, which I am. That like that whole experience enlightened me sort of, because that was like I was really, really, really down. Like I would always say that I wasn't depressed, but like deep, deep down I would say I was, but I just didn't know what, you know, depression felt like, since I've never experienced it before. So, but I had all the symptoms, but I just didn't think I was, which, you know, probably helped me, like that mentality helped me like overcome that challenge. But yeah, so I'll try to shorten this because it's pretty long, but I was like really, really underweight. I was about 40 kg as a 17-year-old, and I was throwing up every single meal. I could not drink water. I could not eat. Even a smoothie I couldn't drink. And all of that just like went into my stomach, and I just regurgitated it. And it was miserable. Yeah. And I had enough. And not just I, like myself, but like my actual body had enough. I physically couldn't handle it. Like if I kept this up, I would literally die. So, you know, things happened, went to the doctors and stuff, and I had surgery for my stomach. This whole procedure, they had to cut off something, reinsert my stomach and everything. No. Most painful day of my life. Actually, not just day, like a whole week. Like, most painful week of my life. And that was it. After that, I had to take meds, which I recently learned would have to last me my whole lifetime. So, yeah, that's that. But slowly but surely, you know, this procedure happened around March this year. But like everything that's been going on, like the regurgitating, couldn't eat food, happened last year, 2024. So yeah, slowly but surely, you know, I'm gaining a bit of weight. Yeah, I think so. I think I look good. But with that, the whole like background story out of the way, I just wanted to say, or like give advice, that all of you people out there, if you are insecure, if you are depressed, if you do not love yourself, I highly recommend that you find a way to love yourself, whether that's through hobbies or like your passions. If you like drawing, one of my close friends, he loves drawing, and that's his like place, or that's like what he does to like release the pain, sort of, or like to just express himself, and he loves doing that, and in turn he loves himself, you know and from my experience, I would say that before, I would always hate, and I mean hate, the way I look. Some people, like my mom's friends, they would say like, "Oh, you're so handsome, you're so handsome," and I'll be like, "Oh, thank you." But deep down, I was very insecure. I did not like how skinny my wrists were. I did not like how, even though I was skinny, I had like my ribs protruding, so I would always like hunch back to like hide those ribs, because if I stood straight, they would like pop out or something. If I was recording this 2 years ago, I would not be wearing this. Yeah, just wanted to put that out there. But I would always used to compare myself to others. Like if I saw someone, I'd be like, "Man, I want his body." I like, "Man, his face, like he has a pretty good face, he's handsome. Like I want to have that face." Or if he had like status, like he'd be going to parties and stuff, he had like a lot of girls, I'd be like, "Man, I would want that." And just cause I was always like imagining me being him, that was like, that would manifest into reality. Like, I don't know how to explain this, but me wanting to be someone else would manifest into reality, and I would just get worse. I don't know how those two things correlate, but yeah. So like, for example, I'll give an example here. So like, I would be like, "Man, I want his body," and I was like at a pretty good, not really good, I was still underweight, but I was like slowly gaining weight, and then I would just start being insecure and like, "Man, I really want his body," or like, "Man, that dude, I want his life." That would just flip a switch, and it would physically cause me to feel worse, and like start losing weight, start losing confidence, self-esteem. And I don't know if this has happened to you guys, but I'm just sharing my experience. That's how it worked for me, that when I wanted to be someone else, like that took a toll on me. And I've just like, from the past couple of years, I've been slowly realizing that you don't need to compare yourself to anyone else. You just have to love yourself. Okay, self-love. I know this may sound corny, and I know you probably heard it like a billion times, but self-love is the best love. Okay, guys? Like, that is no joke. What am I gonna say? All in all, I would say, love yourself. Okay? That is the best thing you can do for yourself. Okay? Because if you do not know how to love yourself, how do you expect to love anyone else? You may talk to them, you may develop feelings for them, but how would you know love if you have never experienced it? And by experiencing it is by first loving yourself. Yeah. I have no idea what I just said. I probably just yapped. But yeah.